Wisconsin Foodie would like to thank the following underwriters for their support: the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board and the Dairy Farm Families of Wisconsin, Outpost Natural Foods Co-op, and Superior Equipment and Supply.
Everybody ready? Spatulas up. Go ahead and start grilling.
It's undisputed by food historians that the humble grilled cheese actually dates back to Roman times. And here in Wisconsin, it's something that runs in our blood. It's a great example of what we do best, this extraordinary staple, this simple dairy product put between bread, but here, it's part of who we are. And this, the Grilled Cheese Competition, is a great opportunity for some of our better chefs and some amateurs, really just to show off, to put a little twist on something that we all know is comfort food, but that something is so treasured.
There's plenty of tap here in town. We're raising all the money for the Lions Club by selling beer here today, so you need to go buy some beer. And then bring it to Ben and I down at this end of it. My name is Lorin Toepper. I'm the Executive Director of Economic and Workforce Development at Madison Area Technical College and the creator of the Wisconsin Grilled Cheese Championship. There was a grilled cheese championship. They called it the Invitational in California. And I thought, well, if they can pull something like that off with their inferior cheese, just think what we could do in Wisconsin with our better cheese. Because after all, we have happier cows. Well, every competitor has 15 minutes to grill 2 sandwiches. And when they're done, they raise their little cheese flag and there's a runner that takes it to the judges' table. But after you grill your sandwiches, you decide which one you want to save for presentation value, and that one's kept whole. And the other one is cut up into quarters for the judges to sample. So then it goes to the judges' table and they sample it, they score it. It's based upon presentation, taste, and creativity. So we like to see what they can do with clever ingredients. Last year was our first one, the inaugural event, and we had no idea how many people were going to show up. And we had an estimated over 1,200 people show up in Mineral Point, and everyone just had a really good time. So we decided, hey, this might be something we could do every year.
So we've got Paul Short from one of our great culinary schools here in Madison, Wisconsin. My buddy Dan Fox, soon to be opening his restaurant, but from Slow Pig. And on this side, Nate, who's a private chef with one of our basically great tech corporations here in Madison, and he cooks for about 500 professionals every day. So in the scheme of things, I'm the only real Yahoo here that shouldn't be judging, except that I've eaten a lot of grilled cheeses in my life. So we're judging on presentation, taste, and then style. And we all talked, and basically, you know, it's got to be what your heart identifies as a grilled cheese. Otherwise, it's really not within the boundaries of what we all know. You got to honor the craft, and I'm not being glib. But some of them look gorgeous and taste a little funky, and some of them look kind of wacky, like you know, you weren't entirely sober when you made that grilled cheese you really want in the morning, but they're delicious. So it's really hard.
Hey, this is a jalapeno popper for us. It's got jalapenos, cream cheese, and it's got the beautiful jack cheese and bacon. Yummy.
Bacon in the cream cheese.
Yeah.
Samir Karimi and Huma Siddiqui, we're both owners of White Jasmine. So White Jasmine has our 3 goudas. We're using our tandoori gouda. Nice and spicy, a little creamy.
A lot of ingredients that we created ourselves. The spice blend is our own, and that's what goes into the gouda cheese, and then it melts, and it's just beautiful.
When it's your mom's recipe, you can't go wrong, right?
Name is Mason. I'm making actually a lot of things. It's too much to say almost. I'm actually going to saute up some micro kale, some hickory nuts at the end, toasted a little bit. All is going to be on a hop and barley bread that I just got from Madison. Got 4 different cheeses here. I got a Saxon green fill. I got a Red Barn 1 year age. Bellavitano with espresso, and also a Pleasant Ridge Reserve. Then I got a gooseberry jelly, dry cured olives, and that's it. It's a mouthful.
My name is Aaron Glaza. I'm making a Pleasant Ridge Reserve with Madison sourdough sprouted rye and sweet and sour red cabbage. So the bread was made by Madison sourdough this morning at 6:30 when he picked it up. Pleasant Ridge is one of my favorite cheeses. It's kind of farmhouse style cheese for like Emmentaler and Gruyere, made here in this Driftless area. And I think all the flavors are going to go well together.
We're on the home stretch here. This is the multi-ingredient stage. They're showing off with things like lobster, short ribs, and really the test is it still a grilled cheese? Is the integrity still there? Does it still know its own identity, or is it just trying to show off? We're going to find out.
With a heat this big, it takes a while for the judges to get through.
This looks very French to me. This just screams French. You got a little melted tomato in there. Got some ooey gooey cheese. Look at that perfect golden kind of haze that we've got on the bread. I mean,
cheers.
I've convinced myself it's going to be delicious already. Oh yeah. I don't know if home run is the right term to use for the grilled cheese, but yeah.
That's a really good one.
Everybody's going to run up to the side. Either I am a sick man, or I was made to be born in Wisconsin, because every one of these tastes great. I'm not getting tired of eating maybe my 20th grilled cheese. See, not to be difficult, but this isn't really a grilled. This is a good sandwich.
It's a dip on a bread.
It's not really a grilled cheese, though.
You get the Nutella on there?
Yeah. This is a cheesy sandwich with a lot of other crazy stuff going on. The one thing I will say about all of these is the quality of the breads has been really high across the board, which is nice to see, because we've got great bakers here too.
Definitely.
This is like a quarter pounder of, wow.
Holy cow.
This is Mason. This, ladies and gentlemen, is one fancy grilled cheese.
That's a good grilled cheese. Somehow all those ingredients come together. It really comes together. I like that one. I thought it would be way too many ingredients in it, but it's delicious.
That might be my favorite on the day right there.
I agree with you.
The sweetness and tartness comes out nice.
There's been so many that have reached and tried to do crazy stuff, but it really didn't coalesce. But this is a knockout.
It actually worked.
So this is not your classic grilled cheese. Although it's got Upland's Pleasant Ridge inside. Sweet and sour red cabbage on Madison sourdough sprouted rye.
Is Linda Paulskill.
That's a fine, sturdy grilled cheese. That right there will get you through a morning and afternoon, and probably part of the night. Oh my God. So that's how we all feel. And like 2 rounds ago. Yeah.
And the winner of the second annual Wisconsin Professional Best of Show, and winning the outstanding Wisconsin-shaped cast iron pan, donated by FeLion Studios, right behind you over there, is Mason Grode.
So I'm here with the grand champion, Mason. Dude, you brought it. All 4 of us, as soon as we had bites, 3 other chefs and myself, we were like, oh yeah. And you stretched, you put in things that should not work together. You're a mad grilled cheese scientist. What was the inspiration?
Actually, mostly just the ingredients. Right before I came here, I went to the Madison Farm Market, got some hickory nuts. I just picked out things that I liked personally and thought, these are all things that I love. Let's just put them together. So
And you didn't even taste the sandwich, did you?
No.
It's not to be trusted because that's unnatural. It was so perfect. Well, I hope they bring you some great restaurant who brings you out of the farm leagues and makes you an executive.
We'll see.
Soon, because it's all in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, right on.
Arbor.
Alisa Toninato had no idea that this skillet would turn into something that grabbed both cooking and artistic cultures. Her studio, FeLion Studios, turns these out by hand. It's not just cherished for the craft that it is, but it's cherished for the home that it reminds us of. It's Wisconsin, it's who we are, and it couldn't be made any better or any other way. Tell me why you ended up doing what you're doing. I heard that you had a pour and then you got on a plane and you looked at the map of America and said, I can do that.
I had just done the Wisconsin pan, and I was like, what would a splat of the whole United States look like? You know,
It'd be heavy.
Yeah, it turns out it's like 600 pounds of metal. It took me 2 years to get it to the final thing, the reality of it, to realize that piece, you know?
Yeah.
It was a one and done idea, one of these things that's like, oh, that'd be super cool. Bam, that's my gallery piece, you know? Like, let's just do that. But then it ended up like consuming my life. Everyone was like, oh my God, I so want one. I want one, this is what I'm gonna make in it, da 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 da. And really, like the meaning behind this work really resides in the people's use of it. Right. So it's beyond my hands. Like it's outside of my capability as I'm a terrible cook. And I can make coffee. I'll make you coffee. I've done eggs. I've done eggs.
In your pans?
In my pans, yeah. I can flip eggs in my pans and that's it. But I will make the tool if you make the food.
I'm a capable cook, but I know some really good ones.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard you got some friends.
Couple friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. You want to get suited up?
It's like I said.
So do you want to wear these? Because
all day.
Those will get dirty. Yeah.
All day.
Like
yeah.
this.
Oh, that is.
The little capette. Huh?
Come on.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Clip it in, Kyle. You gotta go over the head.
There's nothing confusing.
I get lost in it all the time. So this protects any flying shards from getting impaling your midsections. Those are like safety glasses, right?
Yeah, these are like safety glasses. No.
That's what I thought. It's a collaborative dance, you know, with the foundry work. It has to have at least 6 people for it to function. So, you know, a lot of people.
It's not a solitary job.
No, you very much rely and depend on the people you work with to make each other's stuff. So it's a lot like cooking, you know, like I think that it's a very communal, it's a very social activity that we're all going for this one thing, you know, it's like it's fun.
Look at what you created. You've got like 30 yahoos all here on a 13-degree day standing around a bonfire in the back parking lot where we're waiting for something to heat up so we can melt metal.
Yeah, it's quality of life. Oh, we're going from the other side. I kind of want to level up. This is our vacuum machine on reverse.
Blowing air out, right?
Yep, and it's got air, so it's kind of getting it started. If you look in there, it's kind of dark, you know, and there's like kind of orange. We wanted to get like almost white in there, so we're kind of looking at the color. These are the blowers that we use for blast. So there's actually two of these blowers. We're gonna take that away. We have this like sand and clay mixture it's like a temporary bot, we call it. So it's like a plug that we shove into the side of there. And then we're gonna blow these on, and that fills this box with air, and it keeps the pressure of air going in, so it's like our bellows.
Got it.
And that's what actually runs the furnace this whole time.
And the ladles are right over there, right?
Yep. You need to preheat those. A lot of times people will have a torch with some more propane and they'll just blast it into the ladles. But we have designed this furnace to actually use its own emissions. It has a hole at the top to preheat the ladles so that we don't have to use more propane.
So then how do you get it out?
The clay gets hard from the heat, so it keeps it there, and so we take a bar and poke at it and bust it out, and like all the pressure from all this metal comes gushing out, and we catch it into a ladle. So we have a ladle crew and then somebody with a bot. Once it's done, they re-plug it up.
And then you pour that molten metal into the molds.
Yep.
Molten iron into these forms.
Yes.
And then what, they cool and it's like jello? What happens?
Yeah, if we ripped them open right away and brought them into the world really quickly while they're still orange cups and they're still glowing, then it makes the metal finished product very brittle. And so we want these to be cookwares, we want them to be very strong, so we leave them to sit and incubate overnight, and that makes like a really higher tensile strength. This is the risk we take when we do this. Like sometimes molds split open entirely and you get like, you know, this is the whole thing in the center filled. So these are little New Jerseys.
Yeah, but you're freaking adorable.
They're super cute.
Come on,
yeah,
right?
yeah, right? But the whole thing like popped open and the metal just went everywhere. So Texas is a 30-pound casting, but this is what happens when you don't have hot enough metal. So we're missing like a whole side over there. So when you open this up, you can only imagine after all of this work, you know, it'd be terrible to...
It's a crummy way to spend an afternoon if you don't get something groovy out of it.
Right. All right, so first we're gonna snip these bands to free the two halves together. And then we're gonna just kind of hit it with, I'll have you take a sledgehammer and I'm gonna have you hit this like big cup thing. It's gonna sort of shatter the top half of the mold.
I feel both wrong in hitting the state of Wisconsin with a sledgehammer, but both right in freeing the state of Wisconsin from its
you're
bombs.
liberating it. Yeah. That was like perfect form, Kyle.
Was it?
Yeah. All right, so that's kind of all you need, like to.
Oh my God, that's amazing! Check that out.
What is it?
Whoa,
this is like Christmas.
Oh, this is so cool.
Isn't that fun? It has like a bunch of sand stuck to it, so we can kind of reveal like more of it by scraping it. I have like a little putty knife over there.
But then this you're gonna like polish, shave down. What are you gonna do to make it pretty?
So we go through a series of grinding processes. We have a bench grinder and an angle grinder, like a cutoff wheel that we're gonna take and like cut these parts off just to get the pan away from the gating. And then we will do some finish grinding with just a regular grinding wheel. I'm trying to feather this out, and I'm trying to like, so this is kind of an important part with the grinder marks. I try to make all the grinding be essentially seamless, so I don't want people to really see a lot of the tooling on it.
Right.
So this is the very first rough step, is just to kind of get it flat, and then I'll go into this more with a Dremel tool and a carbide bit, and I kind of try to get back the texture by skipping it across it and trying to recreate some of the cast texture.
But this is a big deal for how handmade.
Yeah.
What craft
absolutely.
this still is. It isn't just poured, boom, out. Cooked down, it looks cool on your wall.
Right. No, I definitely I handle each of these very individually. They have, I might gate them a little separately. I might do the vents a little differently, and so every one of them is very intimately handled. And I take the glove off when it's cool, and I make sure that all the edges are going to be like super, like there's no like parts that are going to catch your finger on either side and
finished.
stuff. So yeah. So I get that all ground down, and then I send it out to a sandblaster. He gets, the last everything, right?
Yeah.
And then it comes back to me totally raw and gray, and then it's ready for seasoning. Because people don't really recognize iron to be gray from the onset. You know, we kind of see like, oh, this is a cast iron pan, it's black. And then the seasoning is the revered or the coveted blackening. This is raw iron, and this is what you do to it after. And so we do it in-house with wood fires and organic flaxseed oil. So what happens is we throw them into fire, It's
again.
Yeah, right. Baptism by fire, essentially, and we get them rocking hot, and then we spray them with oil. So what that does is it polymerizes the oil on the surface of the pan, and it smokes off hideously, and then it creates that first layer of 7 that you do for your very first seasoning. I call them living members of your cookware arsenal, essentially. So you have to keep them maintained. We have like a 7-step process because it's what keeps cookware heirloom, essentially. It's how you can hand it down, and so we just start it. We start that process. It protects the pan in shipping, and it also gives people something to rock right out of the box.
We have pans that have been passed down from aunts and grandmothers that we cook with now, that is cast iron.
Isn't that crazy? You're like eating your grandma's food.
In a good way.
In a good way, in a loving way. Sorry, I took it. See, it's just that easy. That's an iron pour.
Two people got burned.
That's no big deal.
2 people got burned, and we got like 20 skillets.
Yeah, so we have this ritual that's kind of been a policy of the studio whenever we're done. We are all going to take a swig of beer, and we circle up, and on the count of 3, we do a very loving but ritualistic spit together onto the furnace. So this is to a very safe pour with good people, good friends in Wisconsin, Wisconsin made all the way, by hand. Thank you so much for your grit and glory. 1, 2, 3. And that's it! And that's it!
Wisconsin Foodie would like to thank the following underwriters for their support: the Wisconsin Milk Marketing Board and the Dairy Farm Families of Wisconsin, Outpost Natural Foods Co-op, Superior Equipment and Supply, the restaurants of Potawatomi Bingo Casino, Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, Something Special from Wisconsin, and Collectivo Coffee Roasters.
Ready? When Alisa Toninato, who grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, this cold, would move her to be, this plate, this pan, she had no idea that her heart would be tugged by molten metal. Blah, 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 a whole culture. It's beloved, and it's, I had something. You screwed me up on the year thing. I had it all. Went on to be cherished not just by cooks and foodies, but by It's Wisconsin, it's who we are, and it couldn't be made any better or any other way. That's what I was trying to do the whole time.